My grandmother and I find a penny in the floor of the homeless shelter that my family's staying in. Only we don't know that it's a homeless shelter. We think that it's a hotel with lots of rats. And I hold this penny in the palm of my hand, and it's sticky and rusty, but it feels like I'm holding a fortune.
Sacramento, the capital of California. Our quaint town of Elk Grove is just half an hour away in the suburbs of the city. It's not the most urban of areas, so at one quick glance, this city of trees might not make many think of much, but under the surface lies a constant issue. Just 30 years ago, homelessness was predominantly single adults, but due to economic downturns, the variety of homeless has increased due to three factors: the loss of affordable housing and foreclosures, job loss and unemployment, and the closing of housing services.
I think that most people don't realize the extent of the number of young people that are homeless. And part of that is because of the way we count them. Part of it is because they're not telling us. But I think it's an incredibly critical problem and challenge that we have here in Sacramento. And frankly, at this point, we're not doing nearly enough about it.
Initially, a spike in homelessness was concluded as a short-term crisis, but the federal response to homelessness has changed in recent years. A strategy implemented was based on the theory that people experiencing homelessness would progress through a set of interventions that would immediately lead to housing.
The reason youth homelessness is a continuing issue is because of poverty in the economy. A lot of parents have lost their jobs or don't have jobs, and it's tough to pay your rent or your mortgage if you don't have an employment. And also, as far as getting food at the grocery store, having a vehicle, let alone paying for gas, or even riding public transportation. So it's just a whole host of issues. It's been exacerbated by the state of the economy.
I think when you look at the data on this and the statistics, it's gotten exponentially worse. Some of that I think is about reporting, but I think just the economy as a whole, as more families have become homeless, certainly more youth have become homeless.
There are about 1.3 million poor families right now, including children, that the mother is not working and they're also not getting cash benefits. And you know, you have to ask yourself, how do those people actually get by the day?
I don't think that we have funded enough in homelessness generally for homeless families more specifically, and even more specifically for homeless youth.
I think one of the reasons the federal government doesn't recognize youth homelessness as being a big issue is here in local government on the front lines, we see it day in and day out. And the federal government is up here dealing with a wide variety of issues. It's not a key to them. But when I drive down in my city and other cities, and I see homeless youth or teens out there in the streets, you know, begging for food, it hurts my heart. And we've got to do as much as we can as a community to stop and prevent youth homelessness.
In May 2009, Congress enacted the HEART Act. This authorized that the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness produce a national strategic plan to end homelessness to be presented to Congress and the President. The result is Opening Doors.
The Opening Doors is a start. That's a start to help our youth and give them a place to go and stay. And that's really the most important thing, opening up. But I'll tell you, with the number of shelters we have out there right now, be it privately run or publicly funded, it is inadequate.
The Opening Doors federal strategic plan to prevent and end homelessness was implemented in 2010 with the vision that no one should experience homelessness. No one should be without a safe, stable place to call home.
Overall, I think the federal government is taking more and more of a backseat to local governments about how to deal with problems like that in their own communities. Certainly we would love resources to come from the federal government, but I think at the local level, we know best about how to deal with the problems and how to solve some of these problems.
I think that we, as a community, struggle to support our youth, just in general. I think, you know, it's really difficult when a family is homeless and they try to enroll into a public school. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of things that hold kids back from going into school, especially when they're homeless.
For the 2008-2009 school year, public schools reported over 956,000 homeless students were enrolled, a 20% increase from 2007 to 2008.
I've experienced as a homeless mother and also a homeless youth. I went to several different schools. I actually dropped out pretty early, probably in the 8th grade. Having mustard seed in my life was a huge relief lifted off my shoulders because my daughter, who was a preschooler at the time that I was homeless, got to attend mustard seed meant that because I was homeless didn't mean she had to suffer the schoollessness that I did when I was younger.
I used to be on the board of the Sacramento Children's Home, and I know that pretty much 100% of our kids were failing at school, and a lot of that was because of the broken homes that they came from and the environments that they lived in. So being homeless doesn't give you a chance to do your homework, it doesn't give you a safe place. It really makes you think about all the fears and all the challenges that you have making it through the day, rather than for other kids, really a focus on school and being successful at school.
The number of unaccompanied youth experiencing homeless remains unknown. According to 2009 figures from HUD, unaccompanied youths are 2.2% of sheltered homeless population, often leaving home as a result of a severe family conflict such as physical or sexual abuse, or escaping foster or institutional care.
With homelessness, there's a lot of intersections between racism and especially in the LGBT population. They're disproportionately represented. 40% of homeless youth are LGBT.
Research also shows that abuse and neglect affect a youth's behavior and ability to learn.
It's through a set of unfortunate circumstances, and it really could happen to anybody. You know, just think if your father or mother lost their job and didn't have any resources, where would you be at? So it's very easy to have that shoe be on our foot. So we're fortunate.
Although the Opening Doors Act is a step in the right direction, there's still more to do. Little effect has taken place and the results have been spare. The initiative proves that the federal government has not done enough to help with the local governance. The alarming numbers of youth homeless remains undermined. This is the future generation, and they can't be left out or forgotten. Let the Opening Doors Act be a starting point, but more instituted if all children are to be safe and secure.